It really is a privilege to be able to speak at the launch of Reggae Marathon. I think I've been at most of the launches over the years, maybe bar about the first one or two, so it really is an honor. As we know, Reggae Marathon started in 2000, and the Heart Foundation has been associated with it about maybe a couple years after that. And personally, apart from the first one or two, I've only missed one, and that was because of work travel. We at the Heart Foundation have seen the event grow from strength to strength, in spite of the many challenges I know that they have had along the way. And we're so happy that it's now a world-class event, and it's classed among the top 10 marathons in the world. When I was looking at this, the event overall, I was saying to myself, what is the real value of the event? Frano alluded, and the other persons that spoke alluded to some of the things. I mean, there may be others, but of course, one that comes to mind at first is economic. We have the hotels, the flights, the restaurants, the tours, the craft persons, and so on. The other one, I think, is to increase brand Jamaica from a tourist point of view, and local as well, because I mean, Negril is a holiday destination for us Jamaicans. But for me, the most important one is the health impact of this event. Now, let's just me give you a little background about the health and why I think it's so important for Jamaica. The non-communicable diseases, which when we say that word, we mean heart disease, cancer, diabetes, and chronic lung disease. That's the leading cause of death globally, in the Caribbean, and in Jamaica. And among those 4 diseases, cardiovascular disease or heart disease is the leading cause of death right now in Jamaica. The big tragedy is that there's 8 preventable risk factors that cause 61% of heart disease globally. Alcohol abuse, tobacco use, any at all, high blood pressure, high body mass index, high cholesterol, high blood glucose, low fruit and vegetable intake, and what's the last one? Physical inactivity. So you can see where I'm heading. Being aware of the risk factors for heart disease is the first step in preventing and controlling the onset or the recurrence of heart disease and episodes such as a heart attack or a stroke. As Diane mentioned, we do have some tests at the back here for those who have a few minutes to spare afterwards. So the Heart Foundation offers an island-wide screening service for heart disease with the aim of alerting persons to the risk factors and to offer treatment and advice for a healthy lifestyle. Because of this, we're very, very proud of our partnership with the Reggae Marathon team and Jam Dammers, as this is in keeping with our objective of reducing heart disease in Jamaica. Reggae Marathon and Jam Dammers have the same culture as the Heart Foundation of Jamaica. They believe in service, they're altruistic, and they're professional in their approach to how they conduct their affairs. In terms of cardiovascular disease, there are some modifiable risk factors and some unmodifiable ones. Unmodifiable ones such as genetics, maybe if it runs in your family, and gender to a certain extent, although women catch up with men at a point. But we shouldn't look on these things as a life sentence. Let us say your mother, father, grandmother had high blood pressure and died of a stroke and so on. The reality is that genetics loads the gun, but lifestyle pulls the trigger. So you have control over what is going to take you away in terms of chronic diseases. When I die, it mustn't be my fault. If I get run over by a truck or a plane drops on the building, that's one thing. But I am not going to do anything that is going to hasten my demise or to make my lifetime on earth have a very poor quality of existence. Being in bed with a stroke, can't move, people have to feed you. If you have a heart attack and you drop dead, that's one thing, but you may not. And there's a lot of suffering, and patients tell us sometimes, when me dead, me dead. Well, that may not be your lot in life, and stroke and so on is another story, and incapacitation from a debilitating heart attack and congestive heart failure, for example. The modifiable risk factors I have just mentioned: high blood pressure can be controlled, high cholesterol, diabetes can be controlled, obesity, unhealthy nutrition, physical inactivity, which we're talking about mainly today, stress we can control, tobacco use, and excessive alcohol use. Reggae Marathon plays a very important role in addressing the physical inactivity as one of the most preventable risk factors for non-communicable disease. Even persons who may not participate in the marathon become sensitized to the value of exercise, and even subliminally, the message of exercise becomes the norm. Reports of the races in the print and electronic media and on the social media send a certain message. It encourages participation in other races throughout the year, and it may encourage the start of a personal exercise program for many persons. Since the start of Reggae Marathon in 2000, we have seen a proliferation of road races. I think it's unprecedented. And I think that Reggae Marathon has been the one entity and Jamdamas that played a major role in this positive change. The environment is now more conducive to physical activity. Another great value of this event as an example to young people, and I'm very happy that there's a school section to Reggae Marathon encouraging the young ones. PE, for example, should be compulsory in school from basic school until graduation from high school. Those of you with children may notice that the older they get, the less the PE gets. So they get older and the PE goes down like this and the fatness goes up like this at the same time. And just when they need it more with hormones tripping in, that is when, we have this exam and that exam and, we can't do it. And really and truly, that should be at the number one thing. And I know the Ministry of Education and Health are very keen on this, and I hope there's a change soon. The fact is that non-communicable disease and heart disease does not start in middle age when you drop down. It starts in youth. And exercise plays a major role in this prevention, as does diet. What is the stuff that our children are eating at the school gate? What are they having for lunch? What do they have at home when they go home in the evening? Persons who exercise regularly are far less likely to be overweight, less likely to smoke, and are more likely to be conscious of their eating habits. They're mindful of what they put in their mouths, and they cope far better with stress. So how bad is this cardiovascular disease in Jamaica really? Well, based on the last survey at the university, 25% of Jamaicans have high blood pressure, 8% have diabetes, 12% have high cholesterol, 65% of women and 38% of men are overweight or obese. Approximately 12,000 persons are estimated to have a heart attack per year, and about 25,000 persons have a stroke. About 50% of those with high blood pressure had no idea that they have high blood pressure. And same with 25% of the person who have diabetes. 86% of persons with high cholesterol had no idea that they had anything called high cholesterol. And 99% of Jamaicans currently consume below the daily recommended portions of fruit and vegetables, and they didn't find any gender difference in that finding. Those who are unaware of their condition are obviously placed at a high risk of getting complications. When it came to physical activity in the same survey, they found that men were more physically active than women. The largest portion of women, 43%, were categorized as inactive. The largest portion of men, 48%, fell into the high physical activity category. Approximately 1 in 5 women reported high levels of physical activity, while 1 in 10 men reported low levels. Our ladies really have some catching up to do. While more than 70% of men were classified as engaging in moderate to high levels of physical activity, only 38% of our women were so classified. So the report concluded that all persons over 35 years of age should be screened for heart disease, as over 90% of these persons will have at least one risk factor, and as I told you, many of them will be unaware. In terms of the risk factors, high blood pressure. It's a silent killer, it needs to be controlled. It's not a death sentence, but you will not know unless you get screened for it. People talk about when they have a headache, they have high blood pressure. That must be, if that is so, it's in the extreme stages, and your heart, the left side of your heart is already stretched out at that point, leading to heart failure, and you're going to present quite a challenge to the medical team to get you back on track. It damages the heart silently. It's also the leading cause of dialysis in Jamaica. And of course, we know diabetes causes the kidney to fail as well, but it does damage the kidney. Diabetes, you do get some symptoms with diabetes eventually. It affects all the blood vessels, not just the ones to the heart and the brain for the stroke. Your eyes fail, your kidneys fail, you can't feel your limbs, you can't feel your toes, you get peripheral vascular disease. We had a patient come in, on the bottom of his foot, he had a thumbtack, and he had no idea the thumbtack was in the bottom of his foot, because his nerves were damaged by the constant circulation of the high blood sugar. Obesity, we know about obesity. Body mass index, even if you don't know what that is, just to say that we all know when we are overweight, in spite of patients trying to tell us otherwise. You know when your clothes start not fitting you anymore, even if you don't have you just know, right? We know, we have measuring it, yes, but you know when you're overweight. I equate this to, let us say you're 20 pounds overweight. Suppose when you left here today, I handed you a 20-pound sack of potatoes. And I said, please carry this around for the entire day. How would you feel at the end? But that's what you do to your body every day if you're 20 pounds overweight. And you expect your body to cope, and nothing is supposed to happen. Some are 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 pounds overweight. We have patients when we do our screening on the mobile team, so we have to have the flat scales, not the one with the bar, because those are stationary and they can't be taken around. We have patients who the scale breaks or they cannot go on the scale. They go up to 350 pounds. Okay, so we really have an epidemic in Jamaica. Unhealthy nutrition, that's a big one. I don't have time to go into everything, but I'll just pick a few items. Sugar. The recommended daily allowance of sugar is 6 teaspoons for ladies and 9 for men. But I just want to show you something. If you have this much of soft drink a day, you have had 12 teaspoons of sugar. One bottle, 12 teaspoons. Would you sit down with a spoon and would you 12 times put it to your mouth? So why are you drinking it? Liquid sugar just goes down easily, I agree. But this is what you are doing to yourself. And 6 for ladies and 9 for men. There is 4 grams of sugar in a teaspoon. Just remember number 4 for me. And every single thing that you see with a label, divide 4 into the grams of sugar. That's all you have to remember. 4 into the grams. And also look at the top of the label and see how many servings is in the container. Don't just divide 4 into the 20 grams of sugar. Multiply it by the 2 or 3 or 4 at the top. That is how many grams of sugar, how many teaspoons I should say, because we understand teaspoons. If I say to you grams, it doesn't mean anything. This is what every single time you down one of these. And it's not just soft drinks. You have to look at all other types of drinks as well, okay? If you drink a 2 liter for the day, 52 teaspoons of sugar is what you have put in your body. Is it any wonder that we're obese? So if most of us drink much more than this of a liquid a day, whatever that liquid is, okay? So if it's this or anything on a similar line, this is what you have put into your body. And so we need to be more mindful of what you are eating because we can see the consequences of it. Salt, we're allowed 1 flat teaspoon of salt a day, which is 2,300 milligrams, or 1,500 if you have high blood pressure. But 80% of the sodium we eat doesn't come from you shaking it on your food. It comes from processed food. Again, we have to be mindful of the labels and multiply by the number at the top. So just remember 2,300 milligrams of sodium per day. A study was once done, and most of the box foods on the road have far more than that in the one box food. That doesn't include all the other tin food and stuff you may eat for the day that has sodium in there, or salt. Alcohol, you're allowed 1 or 2 drinks per day for men and 1 for ladies. 1 drink is classified as a 12-ounce beer, 4 ounces of wine, or let us say 1.5 ounces of 80 proof spirits. Alcohol, it's excess that's the problem, so it's just moderation there. And cholesterol, it depends on your situation if you have a high cholesterol problem. Most of the cholesterol that we have, 80% comes from our body making it. So the rest of it is from what we eat. But to give you an example, an egg, 300 milligrams or less is ideal, and an egg contains 213 milligrams. A chicken leg without skin contains 139 milligrams. That's just to give you a rough idea. But again, you'd need to have your cholesterol checked, and you'd need to know to what extent you need to watch that particular risk factor. Stress is another risk factor. Exercise relieves it greatly. And the final one, before we come to physical inactivity, the second to last one is tobacco use. There's no safe level of tobacco use. 15 cigarettes cause genetic mutation in the lungs. 90% of lung cancer at Hope Institute is due to cigarette smoking. And 50 cigarettes in a 3-month period lead to addiction. We need to recognize cigarette smoking as an addiction, which is a brain disorder. It's not a behavior problem. The addiction is to nicotine, which is in the cigarette, and it's added on purpose. And nicotine is as addictive as heroin or cocaine. So when we look at our friends, family members who smoke, don't dismiss them and say, well, is everybody know it kill you, is your choice. They're addicted, they cannot help it, and they need medical and psychological help to come off. Most people who smoke start before the age of 18 when they weren't really conscious of what the issues are. So physical inactivity now, which is one of the great reasons why we support Reggae Marathon. When you exercise, you should not be able to carry on a conversation with your friend about all the day's activities and the gossip from next door. Because I pass many people in the evening going home and I'm happy to see them out. But believe me, the pace at which they're going at and the conversation, I'm not so sure. Listen, any exercise is better than none. But I'm just saying that we need to kind of work up a little sweat. You know, not that I'm any great, I'm not a marathon runner, let me tell you, but you know, looking at it as, you know, it's trying to lose weight and so on. It strengthens your heart and cardiovascular system. It improves your circulation, so if you have the diabetes and the hypertension, this helps. It improves symptoms of congestive heart failure. It increases the good cholesterol. It increases your energy levels. And makes you able to do more without getting short of breath and tired. It lowers your blood pressure, improves muscle tone and strength, strengthens bones, helps to reduce body fat, and helps you to reach and stay at a healthy weight. Of course, you have to have healthy nutrition as well. It improves sleep. My question is, what do we have time for? Being dead 24 hours a day or exercising 30 minutes a day? So early detection prevents heart disease from other NCDs and other NCDs from developing to life-threatening events. And we at the Heart Foundation, apart from screening, we do have cardiologists, echocardiogram, stress treadmill, all the various tests that we can help you with to try and get you back on track. What do you think would happen if persons facing imminent death from one of these chronic diseases were offered one more opportunity to live a healthy lifestyle? Would they take the chance? So why don't we make use of that opportunity now, before we get to that stage? In closing, just to say that the mission of the Jamdamas Running Club, who are the organizers of Reggae Marathon, is to promote a healthy lifestyle through running. In keeping with the mandate, the presentation of Reggae Marathon has blossomed into an international event. There has been a proliferation of road races, and we think it's due to Reggae Marathon. Given the fact that cardiovascular disease, diabetes and cancer are to varying extents preventable, and physical activity is one of the main ways to prevent these diseases, the Jamdamas and Reggae Marathon can be very proud of their contribution to national development in Jamaica by increasing awareness and by improving the health of the population as a whole. This is an example of what is right with Jamaica and shows what can be done with the vision and determination of one small group of people. I would like to congratulate the Reggae Marathon Jamdamas team, wish them all the best for a successful hosting of Reggae Marathon 2014, and look forward to continuing this event for many years to come. And remember, if we don't find time for health, we sure will have to find time for sickness. Thank you.